the John on them jets cause you wildin'. But the bowl is a party on the island, moment of silence. So good, get back to the topic. Grew up, it was me and Flocka. Grandma's and Big T, this my mama. I ain't even for the pain when my pops flipped. Knew his name, that's it, never bothered. Mom said, you the man, son, you got this. Ever since I found a way to go and pop shit. Hold up, blaze through a whole zip. Took a seat at the table of my first flip. Days in red roof on my first whip. Spent the money with the gang, never post pics. Seen a change in the game, had to coach it. Never let them take my wangs in the mold, bitch. Ever made in a month, nigga. Used to serve him at the minute just the front, nigga. Goddamn.
I'm back.
Perfect timing. Welcome everybody to Hot Program. I'm your host with the most from the East Coast. And as always, folks, I am joined by a man whose electric car is emotionally charged. A man who needs no introduction. How you doing today, my one black friend?
I am well, thank you so much, and hello everyone.
Yeah, glad to hear it. I'm good. Everybody is hanging. It's nice to start the show with a audience that's here and already kind of hot. Thanks everybody for supporting the Blackout with Gin and Truth. You can go ahead and check that out on the Pocket Locker channel or on the Gin and Truth channel. We are currently, of course, live on Hot Program. Go ahead, head over to Hot Program if you'd like to. But we're also live on my One Black Friends channel on YouTube and Twitter, I think is the one you sent me, right? Twitter?
On Twitter?
And then we are also live on the Pocket Locker 86 channels as well. So however you'd like to watch, we appreciate you. Restream does allow me to keep track of things. So I know we have about 12 viewers right now, wherever they happen to be. So that's great. We've also got the gang with us and Gather. AR is here. UC Love is here. Melody Joy is here. Gathertown Punk is here. Cameron Bennett is here, and the arcade bot you see is actually just my tablet. That's another, just allows me to keep an eye on Gather from another device. All right, so happy that everyone's here, and we're here to talk about these biblical commandments. Let me go ahead and edit this. The titles real quick. My one black friend, you might want to.
Can I begin my audio?
Oh, are you going to play an audio thing?
I'm going to play a brief audio thing. It's about 4 minutes.
Go for it. Yeah, go for it.
Okay. If you've just joined us, this is a recording I made of a coworker, and she and I got to talking, and she's extremely interesting. She's from another time. She's only 22 years old. I'm 50. So to hear how she just marvels at things that were around when she was a kid. And I'm like, I was an adult when that was happening, or when that was released, or when that went away, that sort of thing. So she's only ever known a world with the internet. Publicly available. It was around. The internet's actually been around a long time. So I'm going to play. I told her we were doing this episode about the commandments, and she mentioned how she broke one of them. So here is the story. I need to know what I need to do so that you can hear it.
You can try probably.
Nope, that's not my name.
Did you hear that?
Can you turn it up? I did hear it. Can you turn it up any?
I don't know how to turn it up more.
Is it on YouTube?
I have it maxed out. Huh?
Yeah, probably if you share your screen and then just share and then check share system audio.
Okay, how do I do that?
All right, so down at the bottom next to your camera icon, there should just be something that looks like a screen. You go to share screen. The other thing you should do is, and then there's a little checkbox. It should say share system audio. You're going to make sure you check that box.
You know what? It doesn't show me the My Music window. Oh, there it is. So wait, there's a little checkbox.
Once you click the share screen,
can you all just see something that says My Music?
Yeah. That's fine. Yep, we can see your screen.
Okay, it went away.
Go ahead and play a song from your music real quick. Actually, don't. Actually, you can play a second of it. Don't matter. Just play.
No, this is just her. I don't.
Oh,
have
that's
anything.
her. Okay.
I'll cut it. Okay, you're cutting.
Yeah, we can hear it.
Welcome to. I can.
But I think pause. I think it's playing through the speaker, right? Not through the.
No, it's playing in my headphones.
Oh, so then did you check the box that says share the system audio?
I didn't see that. So.
All right, so unshare. You might have to unshare to see it. All right, now go to click share screen, and then after you click share screen, you're gonna click on what you want to share.
I see what you're saying.
Yeah, now there's an option to share system
fantastic.
audio. Yeah.
I'll say my name's Buffy. It's fine. I just won't say my last name.
We can hear that, and you know what? I'll turn it up a little bit on my end so that it's easier for the audience to hear it. So that'll be fine. Go ahead.
Buffy. And you're joining me on a special segment of Hot Program that's called Buffy Story Time, where I'm just going to tell the story and we get to sit along for the ride, I suppose. So just so you can get to know me better, when I was 8 years old, it's 2008. It was, I guess, not a great time. You know, we're hitting the recession. Things are a little rough out there. I still remember it, even though I'm 8 years old. And part of this story specifically is that I used to attend church. I will not say the name of the church for obvious reasons. But I used to attend church, and one of the events that our church would do yearly was a yard sale situation. And at this yard sale, there would be a giant raffle for all different types of prizes. The top two prizes were a portable DVD player and a Nintendo Wii. Okay. So, going into this, I knew I want this Wii. You know, the family's struggling a little bit. It's the recession. But I still wanted a Wii, and me and my twin brother, this was our dream. You know, all the kids at school, they talked about how they had Wiis. We just had a GameCube. And it kind of did the job, but it wasn't as fun, you know? Anyways, so, at the church raffle / yard sale, I was placed in charge of the raffle. Why the church thought it would be a good idea to place an 8-year-old in charge of a raffle is beyond me, but they did. And of course, naturally, without thinking about the consequences and how maybe unethical it was, I stuffed the raffle box with my name so that I could win the Wii. And wouldn't you know it, I actually didn't win the Wii initially. I won the portable DVD player. But this man, who I shall not name his name, because obviously it's confidential, he won the Wii, and he was kind of a weirdo guy. That's a whole story for another time. The weird guy won the Wii, and I ran up to him with my portable DVD player, and I said, "Hey, blank name, you wanna trade?" And he said, "Yeah, what am I gonna do with this?" So we swapped, and from then on, me and my twin brother had a Wii, and I still have that Wii to this day. It is in my living room, and it sits there proudly, even though technically I did rig a church raffle to win it. I'm still quite proud that I have a Wii. And
okay, that's enough of that story. So I don't know how to. Okay, I'll stop sharing. That's it. Okay. Are we back? Can you hear me?
Yeah, we're good. We're good.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Okay. So breaking the law of God there so she lied. She cheated, and she might have won the Wii, but I think we have to assume she pretty much wouldn't have. So she stole.
Right.
And would a man rob God? Well, a kid would. So we know that. So this list, this magical, massive list, I just had your PDF open. I don't know where it went to. I'll just reopen it. So the 613 mitzvot, I bet we don't get through all of them today.
No. I think the goal is to make it a series that we can just revisit whenever we'd like. So we'll just start, see how far we get.
Okay.
Till I've got till about 5:15, so about an hour and a half. Hour and 15 minutes or so, I guess I'd say.
Sounds good. An hour, 15 minutes, that's good for me. I got to hire 2 people.
Yeah, we're busy. It's all good.
Budgetary things. So, number 1 is Exodus 20, verse 2. I am the Lord your God who brought you out of the land of Egypt, out of the house of slavery. You shall have no other gods before me.
Wait. Let's go with the list. Go with the list versions.
But people won't know what it means. It's just to know that God exists. That's not what this says. This says...
Oh, is that the scripture?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, fine. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
So
I just wanted. Sorry. But I wanted people to at least see what the list. They can't even see the list. Sorry. Let me share the screen with the list on it. Yeah. Let me do that. Yeah, so that they can
understand it way better than I do.
Yeah. All right. Sorry about that. That's all right. So let's kind of at least bounce it like this. So number 1 is to know that God exists. He just read the passage. I'm the Lord your God. You can't have any other gods before me. All right. Number 2 is do you want to say more about that? Number 1.
Sure. This is a curious one.
Also, hang on one sec. I have one request. Can you tilt your camera up at all because the name bars kind of cover people up? I don't really like that. Yeah. There you go. Yeah.
Ooh, my name is written in my forehead.
Yeah. You see what I'm saying? It's a little weird. Yeah.
No one should worry.
Yeah.
Totally a made-up story in Revelation. Series of made-up stories. So it says, you shall have no other gods before me. Now, if I spoke Hebrew, I would be able to tell you if this means you should not prefer them instead of me, or you should not bring them into the tabernacle or the temple, whatever.
Right.
There is another commandment somewhere in here that we'll see. If this was the King James, it would say, thou shalt not revile the gods, and gods is plural.
Ooh.
Yeah. So I wonder, does that mean for these people, for the Hebrews, that El or Yahweh was the chief god? Well, if it mentions Deuteronomy 5:6, or essentially says the same thing, we'll just leave it alone. So not to entertain the idea that there is any God but the eternal. So that's Exodus 20, verse 3. Actually, that's it. You shall have no other gods before me. I don't know that number 1 is a commandment in that light, though. Anyway, whatever. This person worked their butt off to make this list, so we'll just let it slide. Number 3, not to blaspheme. Exodus 22, 27 to 28. Come on, I typed fast. At least I used to.
Yeah, because I think we got the first 2 in that first passage, right?
We did, yeah. I think it's a 2.
Yeah. That's fine.
Two, 7, 8. All right. Wow, I won't be doing that twice. Okay. Sorry, folks. I'm not used to doing this. Okay, Exodus 22. All right, verse 27, 28. It's funny because this is already, I think they skipped some. But anyway, 27, for it may be your neighbor's only clothing to use as a cover, and what else shall that person sleep? And your neighbor cries out to me, I will listen, for I am compassionate. So this says not to blaspheme. Then it goes to 28. You shall not revile God or curse a leader of your people. So Pocket Locker, can you bring up on your screen Exodus 22, chapter 22, verse 28 in the King James? This is weird. It's almost like they use something different to come up with this.
No, I think they're trying to sort of give you a summation of it, and
well, they're skipping one. They're skipping Exodus 20 to chapter 20.
Because this other site that's on Jew FAQ is giving like the same list pretty much.
I think it's somebody made a list 1,000 years ago, and everybody's using the same one.
Yeah,
but they're
I'm
leaving
sure,
out.
I'm sure,
if you lend
I'm
money
sure,
to my
I'm sure.
people, to the poor among you.
So the King James Version says,
creditor.
"Thou shalt not revile the gods nor curse the ruler of thy people."
Okay, so I'm going to read. Can you put that on the screen?
But the NIV does say, "Do not blaspheme God or curse the ruler of the people."
Exactly, they change it.
You must not dishonor God or curse any of your rulers.
Yeah, they change it.
They change it. Yeah. Yeah, that's
the one.
that's some evolution right there.
Probably my favorite.
And they don't believe in evolution. I mean, that's crazy. It's right there.
Even the text has evolved.
Yeah, seriously.
So that one is probably not listed here. It's 27:28. I don't know. Maybe in Hebrew, the person making the list speaks Hebrew, and maybe it's different for them than it is for us. That could be. And then Leviticus 22:32. I shall go there. Okay. So the list says not to blaspheme. Wow, I've done that once or twice today.
I like that.
Being truthful. Yeah, this list is incomplete, folks. There's no way. It's this because 31 is not listed here. It says, "Thou shalt keep my commandments and observe them. I am the Lord." That's a commandment. You shall not profane my holy name, that I may be sanctified among the Israelites. I'm the Lord, I sanctify you. So wait a minute. Maybe this one doesn't apply to me. I mean, genetically, I guess I could be an Israelite, but I don't know. I live in California.
Right.
I'm from the Midwest. I don't know. Folks, maybe we can get out of this one. So yeah, I don't have to hallow his name or profane his name, which is good for me. That's 5 and 6. And then to know, let's see, 6, to know that God is one, a complete unity. That's Deuteronomy 6. Well, Trinitarians, put that in your pipe and smoke it. That is contradictory to the Trinitarian belief. How can it be?
The only one I don't see myself breaking on all the time is 2. Right? I do not entertain the idea that there is any other God but the eternal. Well,
look, on Judgment Day, if there is such a thing, you can say, aha. Exodus 20, verse 3. You don't catch me doing that one wrong.
You don't catch me slipping on that God, do you now, huh?
The most important one?
Yeah.
And maybe God will give you a ghetto pass.
Yeah. Hood salvation, you know. You didn't treat me right, but you weren't sleeping around with anybody else either, so.
Yeah, see, there you go. And you probably did number 10, which is to imitate his good and upright ways. I mean, you don't walk around slaughtering people, which is fantastic, if you ask me.
The funny thing is, I think his should be taken out of that, and we're fine. To imitate good and upright ways. His version of good and upright ways, I want no part of.
See, you could do the crossed out Bible.
The crossed out, yeah.
You're crossing out things.
Yeah, I'm sticking a red highlighter through his to imitate good and upright ways. That's what I'm doing.
I think that's fantastic. But as Otangelo might challenge us based on whose standard.
Yeah, why say with 7 words what you could say with 6?
True. So 6 is to know that God is one, a complete unity. Deuteronomy 6, chapter 6, verse 4. Hear, O Israel, the Lord is our God, the Lord alone. So this is known as the Shema.
AR, I think the black Sharpie is too neutral. I think you got to go red Sharpie. Because that's what my advisor does, is the red comments, and they just make you feel emotionally shredded. Like your revision looks like a massacre. And it really sells home the fact that the person revising it is a much better writer than you are. And
there's a commercial. I want to encourage everyone to try to find this. There's a commercial years ago that was done for Whiteout. This woman is sitting under a tree and she's reading a breakup letter from her now ex-boyfriend. And he's explaining why there's a breakup and all that stuff. And she takes out the correction fluid, the whiteout, and she starts whiting out certain words that change the meaning of the letter to where it looks like the guy is the one who just is crap.
That's great. That's probably a wonderful commercial. Yeah.
Yeah. So
sounds like a good one.
The brand is Whiteout. I don't know.
Yeah, I got to try to find some. I haven't gone commercial digging in a while for like commercials that are safe to play on stream.
Yeah, there's some out there. So I'll start over with the Shema here. Hear, O Israel, the Lord our God is the Lord alone. You shall love the Lord your God with all your heart and with all your soul and with all your might. So that's that one.
Now this is the obsession of Christianity that or religion that I guess is often overlooked, right? I always say if you think you're doing enough for God, we were talking about this early with Gin and Truth, where he's kind of saying if your profession is ministry, the problem isn't probably that you're not walking with Jesus enough. But this is the passage that contradicts that. It's love God with all your strength and all your might and all your heart. So if you're worshiping God 4 hours a day, it'd be better if it was 5 or 6. If you're giving God 90%, 92 would at least be preferable,
Well, I think you have to do other things.
Me too.
I think you have to do other things.
But I think this is ripe for that misinterpretation, I guess is what I'm getting at. All your might and all your heart and all your strength. It's very totalitarian, I think.
Mm-hmm. Definitely.
You don't say this to your fiance, do you?
I don't have to.
Sure.
She's a believer in God and Jesus and all that stuff.
I just meant in the sense of, that in a healthy, normal relationship, even the most intimate that we find, possibly on the planet, we don't have to say.
She has called out to God when I've been present. I won't give further details.
Sure, I mean, there's.
But again, it wasn't God.
Yeah. But you know what I mean, though. We don't have to say, give me all of your love and all of your. I need all of you, right? It's just it's not a normal thing to ask of someone. I guess what I'm getting at. Yeah. It's not necessary.
I appreciate the fact that there are other people in her life that she loves, like her family, her dear friends, and things like that. I don't need all of that. I can't bear, nor do I need all of that attention.
Seriously.
The God of the Bible seems very insecure, and I think we're gonna see that reveal as we go through this right now. By the way, I think a Christian probably could make a case for the Trinity. When they say, like, there are 3 that bear witness in heaven, the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit, these 3 are one.
Yeah.
You get that sort of language in Revelation as well. And it says, let's see, Hear, O Israel, the Lord our God, the Lord alone.
It's so interesting because I think I think there's a very simple backflip to do here. So first off, people go, oh, there's a problem because Yahweh is supposed to be one, but the Old Testament God gives you these plural references, right? Because it's all mashed together between the polytheist or whatever. But they could just come back and say no, because later in the gospel, you get the Trinity, God sends a spirit, Father, there you have the Father, the Son, and then boom, the Holy Ghost. So when it's saying we, it's really just the one God, but it's the 3 persons. So I've always kind of, that's an apologetic I'm not going to try to get into, because it's just whatever. Well, take that, fine.
Again, the escape route is saying that,
escape route, that's what we should call it.
If you continue in the Old Testament, God says things like, I will cause my name to dwell there. You hear about the glory of the Lord, God's name and all that stuff. That's still supposedly aspects of this one being.
Right.
Again, it's sort of a get out of arguing free card, if you will. Because they can phrase it that way. And though these ancient folk who were writing this, I think they were quite clever, and sometimes, and they knew that this is just, look, a lot of the people in their audience, in their ancient audience, could not read and would never even see these holy scrolls.
Right.
So of course they just know that here are the priests whom I trust, and they're telling me, who I must trust. I think that was probably more accurate. Whom I must trust. They're telling me that this is what God is saying, so I need to believe them. You know, again, this is how they ordered. We see that now with the way, I'm going to use Trump as an example. There's probably not a better one. How something had happened and you go on YouTube and you want to get the latest news about Trump. The people who love Trump phrase the event one way. The people who dislike Trump phrase it in a completely different way. So if you watch both sides and average them together, you actually could make up your mind about what you see happening. But yeah, it's one of those where they can give it a slant.
For sure.
And I'll say the slant's not fair. Just give people the facts and let them make up their own mind. But I don't know that any news channel does that. Maybe, but I don't know.
Absolutely.
Let's see. To love God. So we threw that in there. That's in there too. So we'll move on to Deuteronomy 6:13. The Lord your God, you shall fear him you shall serve, and by his name alone you shall swear. Well, Jesus said you're not supposed to swear at all.
I just think so many of these are just redundant. It reminds me of going into the Kent Hovind debate. Donnie sent me a list of like, I think 4 or 5 topics, and they were all the same thing. Evolution on trial, which is the one I took. That was the last one. But it was like, is there sufficient evidence for evolution? Does evolution explain common ancestry? Do we have sufficient evidence of a last common? Like it was like the same question rephrased 4 different ways, right? And this is the same thing. Love God, honor God, don't blaspheme him, hallow his name, don't profane him, know that he's the one, love him, fear him, do not test him. You know, it could be.
And yet, if you keep reading the Bible,
noise, right?
when you keep reading the Bible, it'll say you can test God.
Oh man,
that's coming up very shortly. So.
If we were sitting here getting into the law, the commandments, and their contradictions, we'd never get this done. Yeah, I already feel like this is going to be a 60-part episode 60-part series because it's just God has too many damn laws. God has too many rules. All right, where are we at, my one black friend?
Okay, so I'm going to pull up another verse.
But yeah, I don't even know if we have to pull up the scripture for all of them, right?
No, we don't. If you would pull up Malachi 3 verse 10 on your screen, I'm going to read Deuteronomy 22:16. Sorry, 6:16. But pull it up on your screen.
Malachi what?
3:16. 3:16, yeah.
Malachi 3:16 says, I whipped your ass. Oh, sorry.
Go ahead and read it. Go ahead and read it, and then I'll read the one from the list.
Then those who feared the Lord spoke with one another. The Lord paid attention and heard them. And a book of remembrance was written before him, and those who feared the Lord and esteemed his name.
Sorry, I told you 3:16. I should have told you 3:10. Forgive me.
Oh, Malachi 3:10 doesn't make any good wrestling jokes.
It does not.
Bring the whole tithe, into the storehouse, that there may be food in my house. Test me in this, says the Lord Almighty, and see if I will not throw open the floodgates of heaven and pour out so much blessing that there will not be room enough to store it. Now, this is how I know scriptures, through songs. Open the floodgates of heaven. I don't know. There's a song like that, right? But then it's a self-referential thing because you can sing to the Lord about this song, and then you can reference the fact that he says it in the book, and then, but it's like, but wait, they wrote the lyric because it says it in the book, right? So that it's just I realize how much the worship emotional manipulation feeds the circular reasoning. But yeah, go ahead. Sorry, you have commentary on the commandment here.
Yeah, so verse 16 says, "Do not put your Lord to the test, your Lord God to the test, as you tested him at Massa. You must diligently keep the commandments of the Lord of your God and his decrees and his statutes that he has commanded you." So, okay, so it says, don't put him to the test. And yet here it says, put him to the test in what you read. You can do it. Bring your whole tithes into the storehouse so that his house may have food. Now, never mind the fact that if you're God, can't you just cause food to grow in there?
Oh, amen. Paulie B also says, I think I remember reading somewhere that back then, in order to be considered smart and well-educated, you had to be somebody who was well-versed in Scripture. It'd be nice if even today we still had that, because, even the things that would help us, right?
A little more. Lauren Boebert
could use a little no more. Yeah.
She could. I've thought of sending her messages that's Mrs. Boebert. I think you ought to understand this and this, and you don't understand what the Bible means when it says this or that, but in the context you gave it, you're pulling it out of its original context and giving it the opposite meaning.
Carrie Ann's in airplane mode.
Ask me first. Private message me.
Seriously.
Before you send that scripture out. Okay, where are we? So verse
where's
number
my
10.
bot at?
To imitate his good and upright ways. Well, we don't need to cover this, but we will. All right, let's see here. 28:9. Deuteronomy 28:9. The Lord am I in the right place? Yeah. The Lord will establish you as his holy people, as he's sworn to you, if you keep the commandments of the Lord and walk in his ways. Okay. The person who made this list, I'm going to be critical.
Go ahead.
Too much repetition. This isn't new. This isn't a new commandment. Like even the Bible could say, a new commandment I give to you. Love one another. I love you. Okay, so we've already covered this, but whatever.
I just think that this is the nature of law. And it's kind of interesting because Rabbi Tobias Singer's been getting some attention in the community lately. And he's one of these people who his explanation of how Jews are the chosen people is that they're set apart to have more rules apply to them, basically. That's his excuse. And, it's like, hey, man, we got to live under the 613 and the rest of y'all only got to live under the 10 or whatever. But you see where, there's so much repetition in here. It'd be interesting to see an analysis of how many actual rules there are versus, this really ballooned sort of presentation of synonyms.
Padded list. Extremely padded. I've been working on my impression of Rabbi Tovia Singer. Would you like to hear it?
Oh yeah, really? Hang on.
Let
me put you on the. Let me get you. Make sure your big screen. Here we go. There we go.
Pocket Lock. I get to make it to the big screen, which is very nice, very kind of you.
Oh, you're on there a lot. It's just I had to I wanted to put the commandments up, make them easy to read.
Look, this is nothing like bailiwick. I don't know. So this is my Rabbi Tovia Singer impression. I'm working on it, right?
That's the thing, though. It's so calm, and he sounds so nice.
Extremely soothing.
Yes.
I want to thank you all for tuning into Hot Program. I know Pocket Locker broadcasts all the time. My one black friend, not so much. And I hope you are enjoying yourselves. Listening to my one black friend, it's like picking a scab. It's painful, but you have something to do.
That's so good. The cadence is so good.
Well, often, like what makes a great impression is the cadence and not the fact that you nailed the voice right. So Seth Meyers is really good at that when he impersonates Trump because he doesn't sound anything like
Don't sound
Donald
anything
Trump,
like him. Yeah, yeah.
but he nails the cadence. So you can, I guess it helps the audience. You can hear, you can visualize, if you will, auditorily, him saying these sorts of wild things. But of course, the voice isn't spot on. Jamie Foxx has a really good Donald Trump impression. I'm sure lots of other people do too. One of my tenants, he's got a similar voice to Trump, and I tell him, like, dude, he's a voiceover artist too. I'm like, you should be doing Trump impressions. You should be wealthy doing Trump impressions, but he doesn't want to learn, and that's fine. All right, moving on to number 11, to honor the old and wise. That's Leviticus 19:32. Let's go there, shall we?
Yeah, let's go for it.
All right. This says, wait, it's skipping some. It literally is skipping some. So look, in 31, do not turn to mediums and spiritualists. Do not seek them out to be defiled by them. I am the Lord thy God. Come on. And you know what it is? They've broken them up into categories. That this is not in numerical order. This is in categories. So I guess there's going to be a bunch of don't do this, don't do that. The shocking thing, and maybe it shouldn't be, is just how many Christians will seek out mediums and do tarot card readings and stuff like that. Even though tarot cards are BS, it doesn't matter. It makes people feel some kind of way. So that's nice, I guess. 32, you shall rise before the aged and defer to the old, and you shall fear your God. I am the Lord. I do get the sense as I read the Bible all the way through that a lot of it was ad hoc. Somebody was having an argument and a section was written to end that argument or to illustrate how those people should conduct themselves, and they could keep the argument, but they had to settle it in a particular way. And I think sometimes the writer had a slant. They favored one side over the other. And that's what we see again and again. So let's see. Verse 13. Number 13. I forgot 12. To learn the Torah and teach it. See, we got to go backwards now. I don't think we see people doing this today, except for maybe Jewish children. Maybe they see that. Maybe the Limba do this with their kids in Africa. They say they are the original Hebrews.
I think you do need to honor the old and wise, but I feel like sometimes I hear that I feel like how do I say this? This can hold back a family, right? Now, fortunately, the Bible contradicts itself, right? So it's like, honor the old and wise, and then it tells you the child shall lead. So you can pick and choose how you want to take it. But for me, like in the case of like my family, I feel like my mother's attempts to honor her parents are holding her and the rest of the family back, because it's an honor wrapped up in a sort of authoritarian, way that's gonna, it restricts your personal growth, right? And so, but I believe again that this is just the Bible padding and taking credit for stuff we all already knew, which is, life is rough. And it's especially rough to us as age takes us, because none of us beats Father Time. And one of the things I even see now in society I don't like is the way people make fun of older people. Mm-hmm. I think people do this with Joe Biden all the time. I think in our community, I think Sal's been taking shots at Mike, who's clearly really, really sharp cognitively, but he keeps trying to imply that he's not all there. mentally, and I think part of it is that he's an older gentleman, and I think he thinks that automatically makes it believable or something, and it's talked about, like, what's the last group of people that it's okay to discriminate against, and many people are saying it's seniors, right? Mm-hmm. And I would throw heathens in there, but if you have the misfortune of being both, people are probably going to take shots at you, and I just think that's ridiculous. But yeah, I wouldn't disagree with this, right? This is one of those things where the Bible says you should honor the old and wise, and we go, yep, sure, we agree.
Well, I'd say you should honor everyone.
You should honor everybody. There you go.
Honor everyone. I mean,
yeah.
I'm not going to, or nearly everyone. I mean,
sure.
Jeffrey Dahmer doesn't get any respect from me.
Right.
I'm not going to honor people like Adolf Hitler or whatever. Oh, wait. This is how many episodes in and we're finally mentioning him? So we were able to outlast that principle. There are people who are behaving despicably, and I don't think they deserve our honor. If anything, our correction. Let's offer you a correction. Here's how you can do better, because you are doing a terrible job, and that's not what we need right now.
Absolutely.
Let's see. I don't think I've read the verse yet, have I? To learn the Torah and teach it. Okay. All right. So that's Deuteronomy 6:7. I don't like that.
I don't even like this, because again, it's we were talking about this earlier with Uncle Bobby. It's you're building relationships and loving on people so that you can teach them this, God stuff that I don't think is true. So to learn the Torah and teach it, I don't think that's a good rule.
No, but the people who want religion taught in school, who want like the Christian religion taught in school, I think that is a foolish idea. The reason why, if I'm the teacher and let's say, even if a kid watches this, they're going to say, it sure is repetitive. Why is it so repetitive? And what's that going to do? That's going to make them lose confidence in it. And then I start telling them that, look, this guy tried to get
you're almost like
sticks.
You're almost like the general religious education as a tool of competency, almost like a shield against it.
I say it doesn't belong in school. It doesn't. Because where's the practical application in life? When they were teaching me algebra, it's because they knew it's fundamental. One day I'm going to be sitting in my garage and I'm going to have to do some math.
Right.
They didn't see YouTube coming. I could watch a YouTube video of the people who created whatever it is I'm trying to use, like parts from my Firebird, right? The people who created the parts that I'm trying to use have made a video. Here's how you do it. Or maybe I won't always have instructions. I have to figure out something. And now, because I learned algebra or trigonometry, I can do it. So it has a useful grammar, learning grammar. There's a usefulness to that. Learning about these religions, what the hell is that supposed to do? If I'm already accepting of people from other faith backgrounds, ethnic backgrounds, teach kids that. Right. And you don't need to teach them religion. You don't. Because do I need to know that there was a talking donkey? Am I supposed to believe that? Am I supposed to believe that there was a burning bush that spoke? Am I supposed to believe that? Am I supposed to believe a guy walked on water? Am I supposed to believe a guy walked around the Middle East healing people, and yet people can't do that today? Or every time we look into it, it's BS, or they are doctors, and maybe medications and surgeries are involved.
Right.
I think you take a modern child with a brain in his or her head, and you try to show them this. If they really look at it, they're not buying it.
Well, I kind of think that's why they've created a culture where you go to church, you have the experience, you do the emotional thing. The pastor reads some of the Bible to you, maybe encourages you to selectively read them a couple of passages, and that's it. One of the greatest disappointments I had was I was in a Bible study group and asked who wanted to read the Bible in a year with me. There were no takers.
There are no takers. Mm-mm.
This is supposed to be a Bible interest group, is it not? Like, this is supposed to be a group where we read the Bible together. They don't want to read the Bible. They only want to read what Pastor talked about.
I'd say more important than that is the social gathering. Like somebody wants to show
Oh,
off
100%,
how
100%.
amazing
I
they
just
look in
mean,
their new outfit.
yeah, I just mean to the extent that we're going to get into the. I just mean to the extent that we're going to get into the Bible as the, we've got to do the Bible study thing to justify, like you said, the social experience, right? That's the occasion, so to speak. But we want to keep it to that. We don't want this to slip into a book club where the book is the Bible. But I think part of that is they know that would mean getting into the ugly parts.
There's plenty of them. If you abolish critical thinking, which we know there's been a movement to do that, then you can get those same kids to believe almost anything. If you teach them critical thinking, you might be able to get them to solve most any problem. I think that's better.
Right.
I would rather have them empowered and I would rather have them capable than just sitting there saying, no, my one black friend, you have to understand the talking donkey, that really happened.
Right.
Did it? The worldwide flood, that really happened. And them sincerely trying to tell me that that's true. Right? Like we see Otangelo, he sincerely, I think, to a large degree, trying to get us to understand his point of view. Why? So he can save us from eternal conscious suffering in hell.
I don't know.
Which is invented by his loving God.
I'm starting to think that he's not sincere.
No?
Yeah.
Audience?
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, where y'all at with Otangelo, y'all?
Yeah,
Because I don't know. I don't know, right? So that's the first thing. I'm saying I don't know. That's first and foremost. Mm-hmm. But I'm starting to lean. It's like I am with mythicism versus historicism. I don't know, but I lean one way or the other, and which way I lean has changed over time. Well, so with Otangelo, yeah. I always lean towards he was genuine, but severely misunderstood and misguided. Now I think he is just committed to the grift, but I don't know. Carrie Ann said sincere. UCL said lost on his own island. Yeah, I could see that. I could see that.
Lost on his own island.
It's just he's really deep. So for instance, today when I got up, he was live earlier on somebody else's channel where he's in a politics Discord, and he's having this, he's holding up this whole panel talking about the origin of life, which really so he can sell his book, and it's just
he's giving the book away right now.
That's true. He's not. Yeah. Okay. All right, guys.
So
all right.
Pocket Locker, take those scientists that you work with, have them all read his book.
No, God, no.
And look, you're saying that science fails to represent itself well.
No, I agree. No, I agree
right?
that this would be a great exercise. I'm just saying, convincing them that this is a worthwhile use of their time is a tough sell for me.
Why wouldn't it be? It's literally their profession.
Yeah, but they don't. The issue is they don't see it the way I do. Right, that's the problem. The problem is I'm saying they should be doing this, but when I say that to most of them, they don't agree. Or the ones who agree with me, right? They think it's really cool that I do it, but they're warning me, hey, your colleagues don't really think this is a thing you should be doing, right? And then they give me more warnings. Yeah, but then but it gets worse than that. They go, this could cost you the type of job you want if we don't do this a certain way, right? Right? Because what they're saying is all that time you're spending on YouTube, reading Otangelo's book and hosting Hot Program and, doing your thing, like you're not in the lab writing papers or working on research grants. So I've got to go to them, no, we are doing research and writing research grants. We're doing research in how to do scientific community education through YouTube, right? But I've literally got to do that. Do you see what I'm saying? Because if I don't, then it's just, no, really, you shouldn't be doing this, right? Right?
Send me some of those blood sample vials, and I'll get you some of my little brother's magic blood. And then you can write about his magic blood.
Yeah, seriously.
He gives to other people. So the doctors inject his blood into other people so they can be healed.
But yeah, I've gotta literally wrap all this in a floury burrito of scientific outreach and education, or else. But I agree with you. I think this would be the type of thing to do. And matter of fact, it would be really helpful to me because, right, I'm out here alone trying to tell Otangelo this is nonsense, and it would be great to everyone in the community if I could have 8 evolutionary biologists just go through it and all sign off on, we actually took the time to read it, and this, it would be great. It'd be beautiful. Give
everyone a chapter.
Yeah, something like that. I mean, that would really actually, I mean, don't get me wrong. The obstacle I'm trying to overcome in my head isn't that I don't think it's a fantastic idea, right? It's just trying to get them to understand, hey, we got to start doing stuff. Because part of what I've been saying lately is we're in the middle of a holy war. Now, you can keep ignoring it if you want to, but it isn't going to go away. And they're much more comfortable ignoring us than we should be ignoring them. Right? When I go to church on a Sunday morning, they're not sitting up there ranting and raving about science, right? They're just,
you can find
they're happy,
but by and large, no.
But yeah, but by and large, they're happy to keep us out of their lives, and so they're cutting off Christian children from any real meaningful possibility of a scientific education. Hashtag not all Christians, but a lot of them, and there's nothing to interrupt that momentum and cause a course correction other than intervention by qualified professionals, right? Right? Like they're not going to wake up one day and go, hey, yeah, we really ought to stop preaching against evolution. Like, it's just not going to happen. So I think the scientists who don't engage are certainly, I think they're good scientists, and certainly I don't think they're religious, but I do think they're engaging in magical thinking. They're hoping they can ignore a problem and it'll somehow go away, or they can pretend that somebody else should take on the responsibility. It may not be what you've trained to do, but that doesn't change the fact that you might, in fact, be the most qualified people to do it. Which also won't change the fact that it definitely needs to be done, right? Right?
Cut that little piece of video out and send it to them.
Yeah, right? You got to clip that, seriously.
Other universities will be glad to talk to you, I'm sure, and take a chapter.
Yeah, I think so. I think it's actually a really good idea. But the problem is with Otangelo, maybe he hasn't had that exercise done, but he's had essentially that exercise done. It would almost be more of a case where I think the benefit would be for people to see how an Otangelo engages, what the issues are with their stuff, and how people can be confident that, in fact, he doesn't know what he's talking about, right? I don't think even a letter from 20 evolutionary biologists would change Otangelo's tune.
But that's not. Again,
I'm just reminding myself and others that's not the goal, right?
When you debated Hovind,
right, it wasn't about changing his mind.
It's sort of the Dillahunty approach. You're really talking to the audience.
Exactly.
To some degree, the person you're debating is the figurehead.
Right.
You're going through their ideas.
Right
through their ideas.
Yeah.
Boom.
Right.
To reach that audience.
Yeah.
I have to break what this person said in two, so I can reach the audience. Because if the audience has no, it's like I said about that whole the origin of the Hebrews. Are they black people? Are they the Jews that we see by and large today, where they look like they're whatever, quote unquote, white or whatever?
Right.
We don't actually know, and the topic is a muddy one, a seriously muddy one. And I've seen great scholarship, I've seen poor scholarship, I've seen some of the connections, I haven't seen all the connections. I've seen a lot of disconnections. I've seen people misunderstanding what a Spanish person may refer to as a European person 400 years ago. What they called a black person might just be a darker skinned person and not even as dark as me.
Sure.
So I've seen people misunderstand that. Does it mean that they're wrong about everything else? No, it doesn't. So don't make up your mind so fast. And I think a lot of times in those audiences, there are a good number of people that haven't made up their mind, or part of what they learned doesn't make sense. So there's a knowledge gap. Well, you already know what fits well in the gaps. God does. But if they haven't done that yet, then they're sitting there watching you and Hovind on stage. They may be perfectly ready to put God in the gaps because Hovind says that's where he belongs. Or God just isn't in the gaps. God is everywhere. God is all of it. God is the source of it. And that's how he feels.
Absolutely. Yeah, Wolf, then we're talking about the biblical commandments. It's part of our first series. We're going to go through them. Where did we leave off? Do you remember?
Yeah, we left off to learn the Torah and teach
Oh, yeah, right. That led to this conversation. Yeah, absolutely. Because
for next episode, really? I'll try to find another list that's not arranged by groups, but goes in book order.
Oh, I see. I see.
There's too much leaping around, and you miss out part of, I'd say, how they can be sorted. Maybe I'll put this in Excel and then sort it. I don't know.
Okay.
We'll see. So let's see. To cleave to those who know him. That's Deuteronomy 10:20.
So that is then going now into others, right? This is to cleave to those who know him. And I don't even know where I'm questioning even some of the categorizations, like why they choose to put this here and not into the previous category. But it's like okay, it's just another. They're all the same, right? They're all this God who's just so insecure. Mm-hmm. Like it's horrible. I mean, if people tell you God isn't insecure, just pull up the laws and just.
Well, it's like that thinking that the God of the Bible is the demiurge, who is sort of someone with a lot of power, but not a lot of understanding of that power.
Right.
Not a lot of understanding of the consequences of using that power in particular ways. And so they're sort of fumbling through. Now, to me, a God like that makes a little more sense if they don't know everything. So it's about discovery, saying, oh, pray to me and I'll fix your problems. And then realizing, wait, what if people have problems with each other? What if this guy wants what this guy has and this guy wants to keep it? How do I resolve that? And then one day learning, I'm not answering any more prayers.
Yeah, so Wolf Boy,
Gmail.
So Wolf Boy's a Christian who's with us, and he asked if we're doing the 10 Commandments. No, we're doing the 613 Commandments.
613. Who is this person?
Wolf Den Gaming. He's one of Ken Hovind's fan. He's on YouTube. So you see him on the Pocket Locker 86 on YouTube. But he came on. He's a Ken Hovind fan who came over after that debate.
Okay, well, hello, Wolf Den. And anyone else that's joined us, and I can't see what's on YouTube at the moment.
Sure.
But yeah, we're doing the 613. You will see some repetition here. And
some repetition.
Yeah.
Maybe at the end we'll boil them down to 10, but go ahead.
Yeah, you may find this very interesting because I don't know what your background is. Have you been exposed to these before in full? Like, have you read all of the Old Testament, all of the New Testament, and what your level of understanding is? I know the Bible is the book best read more than once, and more than once by the same person. So thank you for gathering with us. Let's see. Yeah, to cling to those who know him. So verse 20, you shall fear the Lord your God, him you shall serve, him you shall hold fast, and by his name you shall swear. Swell. Again, I think I've read this one already.
I feel like they just did like this creative interpretation because I don't even know where you get. To me, I should have heard something like, and those who have gone before you and know him in their hearts shall be your guide, or something that tells me I'm supposed to look for other believers and knowers and doers of the law and be bound to them so that it's easier to walk in steadfastness or something. But what you actually get in the scripture is just another God is great and all loving, and I should say all loving, but God is great and his law is amazing and wonderful and righteous and all of this. All right, so what? Not to add to the commandments of the Torah. Now that's interesting. What do you think of that? Because that's almost like, where do all these religious extra
How do we
rules come
enforce
from?
this? Is there a way?
Yeah.
Now I do know the Bible does go. It says some interesting things about prophets. So if a prophet is a false prophet, you're supposed to take them to the edge of the village and stone them, or something of that nature. Now imagine the people we have on TV today. Can we not do that and just tell them, like, hey, cut it out? You're not a prophet.
Yeah.
Do we have to kill him? Because I don't want to
Yeah.
kill anybody.
Do you want to take callers?
I'll be happy to take callers. But the Bible also says that if a prophet says a false thing, God gave them bad information on purpose.
All right, well, here we go. This is all right, so the thing is, hang on, I'll switch screens. The place we take calls is basically the same, but just like so just like our Discord has like a room for guests, our GatherTown setup has a room for guests. That way these spaces that we give people the link and password to are sort of only occupied by people who we know. You know, it's like a friends and family personal invite thing. Okay. But yeah, so I'm just gonna send you a link quickly to the we call it the cafe.
Me?
Yeah, to you. Yeah. And it can save it. Yeah, you should just when I send you this link, just bookmark it. And basically, we could even in future, we could do hot program from this link. It doesn't matter. It's just another space, but it's the public one. Like, it's one we let people share with other people. So like, if we're going to take calls, like Lupin wants to call in, he doesn't have access to the ranch, right? So we have to meet him in the gather.
Can you make it so I can hear that, or do I have to go in there right now?
Yeah, I'm gonna just send you like we'll just pop over to there. Let me take a second. I'm just oh, you know what it is? I gotta do this freaking Google 2-step verification thing. Pain in my butt. Boop, there we go. All done. All right, I'm in. Let me give you the link. Copy the URL. Yeah, my one black friend, you should literally just be able to click on that, and I'll be in there.
Yeah, should.
Yeah, I'll stay here. I'm gonna stay here until I see you in there, and then I'll switch over.
Okay, let's see here. Did you send it on my phone, or did you email?
Oh, I put it in the I just put it in the Gather chat.
In the chat?
Yeah. There's a chat right there in Gather. Carrie Ann was laughing at should. But yeah, if you see it in the chat, you should just be able to click on it right from there. There's no password to this one or anything. It's public, so. And then Lupin, you should be able to. That link is in the description, Lupin.
Okay. I'm going to take advantage of this moment of...
Oh, you're in. We see you. We got you. We're good.
I'm the little girl there.
Yeah, you're the little girl. Yeah, you going to make your avatar finally?
No.
No, not having it. All right, my one black friend, I'm going to pop out of this, and I'll see you over at the other one.
I don't even know what I'm doing.
No, you're fine. We're changing meetings, so we're gonna all close out of this tab, and we're gonna go to the one that you just joined.
Okay.
Yeah, that's all. Close that.
I don't even know what to do.
You're good. You're fine. Everybody can hear you. You're good. All right, here we go. All right. Close the other tab out. There you go. Yeah. All right. No, close out the, yeah. All right, that's fine. We'll probably just head over to this bigger table just in case more people join us. Yeah, boom. Perfect.
Okay,
All
I'm
right,
gonna
you're officially a
excuse
pro.
myself.
Yeah, go
I'll
ahead.
be right back.
Yeah, go
I'll
ahead.
be
Take your
right
time.
back. Forgive me.
You're good. No worries. All right, Lupin, you can call in if you want. We're all in the cafe. Oh, okay. We thought you were planning to call in. All right, no worries. And then same thing. I'm gonna share my screen. All right, I'll mute him in case in case anything else happens. He's going to the bathroom. I thought he was gonna. I should have muted him when I realized he didn't mute his microphone. No big deal. All right, there we go. Yeah, man, you're good. Yeah, so basically, it's just the same thing. Like it works the same exact way. It's just that the other space we were in is private for our friends and family. So that's why we normally host from there. But we come here anytime somebody wants to call in. And then just like, you know how with Restream, I would always just pin the link and put the link in the description. This works the same way. There's just a link pinned, link in the description. They click the link and they can hop in. All right, but in the meantime, we can continue what we were doing. So I've got my screen shared again, and we'll just go. And if Lupin calls in, we can talk to him.
Oh, the person's gone?
No, he said he was just going to get ready or something. I think he had to change or whatever the heck he was doing.
Don't go changing trying to please me.
Yeah. I don't know
okay, so 13:1. If prophets or those who divine by dreams appear among you and show you omens or portents, and the omens or the portents declared by them take place, and they say, let us follow other gods whom you have not known, and let us serve them, you must not heed the words of those prophets or those who divine by dreams. For the Lord your God is testing you to know whether you indeed love the Lord your God with all your heart and all your soul.
Yeah, this is the Torah. The Torah. It's so repetitive. This is what you got to do. It's why you got to read it all the time and read it repetitively. Oh man, this is all right. What number was that, by the way?
That was number 15. Sorry. Actually, that was supposed to be number 14.
Okay, I'm excited about 16. So let's do 15. All right, so 15 is just not to take away from the commandments of the Torah. All right, we already know.
And how do they even get that from what I just read?
I don't even know. These are all the Torah laws, I guess. All
See, this is what happens when this is sort of my point, where something's given and people don't look at it critically. They just accept it. There's no way in hell what I just read says not to add to the commandments of the Torah. There is no way. Not at 3 a.m, and certainly not at 4 o'clock in the afternoon, 5 o'clock.
Right.
It does not say that. Yeah. Anyway.
Lupin, also, we've got about 15 minutes left for today's show, so I got to get out of here about 5:15, let my dog out. But if you want to call and do, please do. My one black friend though, want to thank you, man, because now you're a Gather pro. See, here's what happens. Gather is way cool. You know how Restream allows us to have in like 10 people at once. Gather we can have bigger. Yeah, it has like 10. It has like a 10-person limit. Gather has like a 20-person limit, right? So we can do our parties and stuff. But since we only have that limit and we use it all the time, like we've got a virtual office, we've got a place where we've got a tent town where we camp out overnight and stuff. So we have all these different spaces, and then everybody that's on our friends list has an invite where they have all of the links and all of the passwords. And then after they enter them, they can all go into all the spaces anytime they want. And then this is like our little bridge to the rest of the world where we only feel safe with friends and family on our compound. So we made the cafe so that we can gather with people who are not yet friends and family. So that's what the cafe is for. So now all I'm saying is, you know how to jump into the compound. You now know how to jump into the cafe. The link to the cafe you can actually share with anybody if you ever want to, meet anybody else in here or whatever. If you find that it's a fun place, you might find this is a fun place to meet your fiance. You can play games and gather stuff, and I don't know, they got little cute date areas and stuff. But yeah. That's that. But have some milkshakes, exactly.
She likes milkshakes. She calls them melted ice cream.
Melted ice cream, yeah. That's the vibes, pretty much. But yeah, so I love number 16. Tell me what you think about number 16. Actually, that's one we definitely want to read the scripture on that one, right?
That every person shall write a scroll of the Torah for himself.
Boom. Everybody's breaking that. Everybody's breaking that. If I don't see your own personal Torah scroll, you're done. You're done. This is serious. Because you got to remember, folks, this is before the printing press and all that, right? So the only way to make sure you can properly study your Torah, right, is I guess you got to copy somebody's. You got to be serious enough to make your own copy. And then you got to do everything else based on that. Carrie Ann said she has. I guess a bunch of us have them, but did you make it? Did you write it?
I didn't make it.
Did you write it, Carrie Ann?
Carrie Ann, it says, now therefore write this song and teach it to the Israelites. Put it in their mouths in order that this song may be a witness for me against the Israelites. That's what it says. Does this person? There's no way.
There's no way.
That says the same thing.
It's a lot different.
There's no way.
Her Torah is different.
Is it necessary for me to make my very own list? There's no way.
No way.
26, interestingly enough, says, take this book of the law and put it beside the Ark of the Covenant, the Lord your God. Let it remain there as a witness against you. For I know well how rebellious and stubborn you are. Sorry. If you have already been so rebellious towards the Lord while I am still alive among you, how much more after my death? Dang, Moses, you bad. You sad. So,
Seriously.
This does not say you shall write a Torah in 31:19.
Definitely. Oh, all right. Lupin is here. Lupin is, we met from the Kent Hovind thing. He's a Trump supporting, evolution unaccepting. But he's here with us. He talks to us. He engages us. Lupin, can you hear us? You good?
There's feedback from Lupin, I think.
Yeah, let me mute your. How you doing?
Good. How you doing today?
Hi, Lupin.
I'm hungover and tired, but I'm all right. I'm living, kind of.
All right, we appreciate you coming through.
You want some scriptures about the?
So, what are we doing? Are you guys reading about the Torah, or are you guys going through the Bible?
We're going through the Torah first.
Oh gosh.
Mm-hmm.
You guys can continue the. If you don't mind me asking, like, what's your like stance on everything? Like, are you atheist, Christian, agnostic, yada yada?
Do you want me to go first, Lupin?
Yeah, he knows about me. He knows me.
Okay. I am an atheist.
Okay.
I believe that Jesus was not a real historical person. Now, I'm doing some research on this because I'm one of the people who thinks Revelation was written before the Gospels. If that is the case, I can buy Jesus as a historical figure who was a lunatic that thought he and John the Baptist were supposed to be mentioned in Revelation, and it was their mission to sort of carry it out. You know, when Jesus says, I'm going and I will send someone after me, like someone will be sent after me, like he's one of the people who's part of the apocalypse. And that's why there's all the conversation about how the world is supposed to end soon. You'll see a new Jerusalem coming down from the sky, new heaven and a new earth, all that sort of thing.
Jesus.
Because that's what they thought was going to happen. I know a little rough to hear me after drinking, but
that's a pretty hard line to go in, but it's whatever. I'm down to hear everybody's opinion.
Sure. I also believe in evolution. I was a biology minor in college, and I excelled at biology in high school, not in college. It was a slog. But I was convinced as a teenager that this evolution bit is real. Absolutely. And it just takes time. It's not one of those things that's instantaneous. It may take generations for something to change.
I'm just waiting for my gills so I could go swim underwater without having to wear scuba gear.
You had them before you were born.
Damn, well, I could still use them right now. I don't know why I evolutionarily lost them, but whatever. It's all good.
Well, because you're a human being. You're not a fish.
I'm not a fish anymore.
If you were a fish, you would have kept them.
I lost them between my fish and ape stage. Dang.
In the amnion, your gills were gone.
I don't want to. I'm a Christian. Let's not even get into the evolution thing right now, just because I don't want to get kicked out of Jay's stream right away.
Well, I'll fight for you. I'll be Larry H. Parker. So, Lupin, what are some of your interests here in us reading through this? Are there some commandments that leap out to you as ones you ought to live by, or that are particularly precious, or that you think, I'm doing this, why isn't everybody else?
Well, I mean, I try my best to follow the 10 commandments, but of course I fail every day on that. So,
which set of 10?
There's
3 sets.
The basic Christianity, 10 commandments: thou shalt not steal, kill, blaspheme, covet thy neighbor's stuff. The basic 10.
Okay, well, there's 3 sets of 10 commandments in the Bible.
Okay, well, I mean, I have the Bible right here, and just like New Testament 10.
Okay.
I don't think they have the New Testament. I don't think they're in the New Testament at all. I'm pretty sure they're not.
Maybe, I don't know. I haven't read the whole thing from cover to cover in a while, but yeah, just the basics.
Well, at least you have read it. I know many people have not and call themselves Christians, and they've been Christians for decades, and they've never, at least they say they have been, and they've never read the entire Bible, which I find rather remarkable. But why wouldn't it be true? I mean,
it's a complex book,
but I don't think it's that complex.
It's not.
You have things like notes in the margin.
Yeah, it's not. It's not complex, but it's one of those. It's one of those kind of strange dichotomy type things where it's extremely deep and extremely spiritual, and it can be extremely complex, but it's not. At the same time, it's not really that complex, because if it was too complex, then it would be hard for the average person to understand it. So it's very deep, but you can understand it.
Are there better rules that you can think of that could maybe, if you had to get rid of a commandment in the list of 10 commandments, can you think of one that could replace something on that list because it's more important?
No, I think it's fine the way it is.
So it doesn't mention that you shouldn't own slaves. It doesn't mention that you shouldn't rape. There's a lot of honoring God on there, but couldn't they just be mentioned once and you use one of these others, like, you're not supposed to have slaves, you shouldn't rape people, remember if you're only going to remember 10.
Let me look up the 10 commandments real quick, all through real quick. Hold on, let me see, because I got my Bible with me, but I don't want to flip through. I'd rather just Google it real quick.
That's fine.
So let's see the 10 commandments in order. You shall not have no god other before me. Thou shalt not make unto any unto thee any graven images. Thou shalt not take the name of the Lord in vain. Thou shalt remember the Sabbath, keep it holy. Honor thy father and thy mother. Thou shalt not kill. Thou shalt not commit adultery. Thou shalt not steal. You shall not bear false witness against your neighbor, and you shall not covet.
No, what's the covet one? Because you've already read that, right? That's already in that list. Am I mistaken? Does it show up there twice?
No, I think you may be getting it mixed up with possibly you shall not make false idols or make idols or.
Well, okay. Can we do away with that one and have no slavery or no rape? Can we do away with that one?
I don't see any reason why we should do away with any. I mean,
I'm just saying in the top. If it's like David Letterman did those top 10 lists for years, could we maybe move it out of the top 10? And in its place, put don't have slaves or don't rape.
That's a tough one for me because these are the 10 commandments established by God in my opinion. So that would be me taking away or editing or saying that my opinion is greater than God's, which I don't think I can do. I mean, I guess if anything, remember the Sabbath and keep it holy, I mean, maybe something like that. But even then, I can't, nobody can really, to me, nobody can follow these 10 commandments, thankfully, so.
So what's a commandment that's hard? Because I've never committed adultery. When I was a kid, I stole. I don't do that now.
Well, and you've already messed up if you already stole. You've never cheated on a girlfriend?
No.
No?
No.
And this might be like a very watered down version of the one that I read.
You should listen to everything we read before you joined us.
Oh, if you're talking
watering down.
Oh, if you're talking,
you would think Pocket Locker and I were trying to recreate Noah's flood with all the watering down there was.
If you're trying to go through the Jewish commandments,
yes,
you're gonna be. That's a topic that's gonna take months.
But Lupin, you don't think we would have made a better list if we just said, you know what, making an idol, like if you make a golden calf, cool. But instead, we're gonna explicitly say you can't rape or murder.
Well, it does say.
I say murder. But sorry. I meant to say rape or own slaves. It's going to explicitly, because look, we know there's a lot of biblical slavery. I don't know if you knew this, but there's more slaves in the world today than there has been at any point in human history. People think slavery is over. You just don't see the slavery that's in the world today. So today, hang on a second. Today, I want you to think about this fact before you respond to this question.
I was going to agree with you.
Okay, so you think we could replace idols with don't own slaves?
No. Also, the whole rape thing, I would say that could probably fall on you shall not commit adultery.
I almost am willing to give you that. And I also sometimes thought you could get that in thou shalt not steal, right? You're taking something from someone without their consent and they have not chosen to give you that. So I'm not averse to that. So let's just say, an explicit command of slavery over the idol worship thing.
So here's the slavery kind of deal. Slavery kind of has been around for centuries, like since probably the dawn of man. Slavery has been a thing, and there's different levels and tiers to slavery, because there's also indentured servitude, which is not necessarily the same, but you're essentially not necessarily a slave, but like you're somebody's assistant, like contractually, and it's agreed upon. It's like a mutual.
All right. So what if we ruled out all of the, let's call them soft slavery? Let's just say we're going to make an explicit commandment says thou shalt not own another person.
Let's see if that could be.
Because then, right? Because then, look, and it may have been messy, it may have been ugly, and it may have been a different time. But if we do that, right, then I can give you, sometimes somebody was a secretary who lived there. Sometimes somebody did indentured servitude. Somebody sometimes had a debt. And, you know, if they lived there and worked there for 6 or 7 years, they could pay it off. And, yeah, sometimes the masters or the people in charge took advantage of that thing.
Yeah, the bosses.
Let's set all that aside. We're going to set all that aside because in those situations, you don't own the other person. Right? It may be weird. It may not be an arrangement we'd agree to in 2022 or 2023, but you don't own the person. So let's just say all of the I call them soft slavery. Let's just say we're only talking about I own you. I own you. You are not free to leave. You are not an employee. None of that. I actually own you. Matter of fact, I might even own your children and your spouse, right?
Like communism.
Yeah, I can
like the Bible.
Yeah, and I can trade you. Just same way I could say, hey, my one black friend, I will give you this mouse for $50. It's my mouse to give to you. Oh, he says, oh, here, Jay, I'll give you $50. Give me your mouse. If I can do that with another human person, like if I can transfer them like a piece of property, let's just say I own them, right? What do you think then if the commandment is just thou shalt not own another person?
Well, let me kind of go over you shall not covet. Let me go a little bit deeper into that here. So
Sure.
Covet means to want something that belongs to something else. A person who covets may be led to break most all other commandments. So I could almost see slavery fitting into that, because if you want to covet somebody else's livelihood and their being, then that could somewhat be.
I almost, you know what? I don't mind that, honestly, Lupin. To me, I hadn't thought about that, because, you know, when I think of covet, I think wife, goods, whatever. But if we're gonna say slavery makes a person a good, right? And then you shouldn't desire someone else's good, or that life it belongs to them, so you shouldn't covet their freedom, essentially, or you shouldn't covet someone else's freedom, or you shouldn't, or maybe you're again stealing, right? You're taking someone's freedom. It has not been consented to you by that person. Now, I don't know how my one black friend's about that, but I actually think that sounds pretty reasonable, Lupin. I don't know. What do you think, my one black friend?
I was distracted.
Oh, so he's basically saying, okay, because we were trying to sub in thou shalt not own another person, right? We're trying to get slavery in and see if we can replace one of these other commandments. And I kind of wanted to set aside soft slavery, right? Because a lot of times when we have that conversation, we get into, well, it was different back then. There's sharecropping, there's indentured servitude.
You don't need that. The Bible has provisions. Here's one right here. I was trying to find a place for Lupin to go to read about how a person can, who loves their wife and loves their children, and has the priest shoving all through their ear, and now they're a slave forever because their wife and children. So
hang on. Let me see where he's going. Hang on, my friend, because I think I just want you to hear.
I want to give this to him.
Sure.
This is Deuteronomy something.
Old Testament?
Yeah, Old Testament.
Okay.
But thou shalt open thine hand wide unto him. This is a poor person. And thou shalt surely lend him what is sufficient for his need, in that which he wanteth. In verse 7, if there be among you a poor man of thy brethren within any of thy gates in thy land, which the Lord God giveth thee, thou shalt not harden thine heart, nor shut thine hand from thy poor brother. So it doesn't matter. You're supposed to lend to them what they need. And you know what Jesus said, Lupin? You're supposed to give without the expectation of ever getting it in return.
Yeah, absolutely.
For me, that fixes it. You don't need to sell yourself in slavery. You don't need to. You just need, you should pay the person back.
Do you want to?
So hang on a second. Hang on one second.
Explain that.
Yeah. So he basically what Lupin was saying is he's actually trying to grant that slavery is wrong, and he was just trying to say that he thinks in a sense they can be covered by the commandments against covetousness and potentially even stealing, right? You're taking another person's freedom. You are coveting something that is not your own. That person's life is not. So I was saying that sounds reasonable to me. And then I was asking, you're saying it doesn't sound reasonable to you.
Absolutely not.
Okay. So that's what we're asking for. Why not?
It literally says you can take your captive from the nations around you.
So you're saying it's not sufficient. So you're saying
it's telling you to steal.
So you're saying we can't say it's covered by the 10 Commandments because God turns around and then explicitly gives us some ordination. So then we can't say that that's what he meant in the first 10 Commandments.
Israelites are supposed to go conquer other nations and take their land after they cross the Jordan River, right?
Yeah.
They're supposed to do that. That's theft.
Yeah. So you're saying if that's what he was trying to tell them, they didn't get it.
God is commanding these Israelites to break the commandments he told them not to.
Got you.
I command you not to do this. Well, excuse me, because I'm going to keep breathing. And one of my future breaths, I'm going to tell you to do exactly what I said don't do.
Oh, the Jews have messed up a lot. Definitely.
Well, dude, I'm not letting you Christians off the hook. If I got to lump you all in together.
We mess up all the time, too.
The Crusades is a bit of a screw up. The slave trade, the international slave trade from the 14 and 1500s onward, that was like signed off by the church. They had to dehumanize those Africans so that people would accept the fact that they're sticking thousands of them, tens of thousands on boats and shipping them to different places in the world.
Yeah, I could agree that's been ugly. That's definitely an ugly part of history, and it is what it is. But slavery has been around for, like I said, probably since the time of man. There's always been types of slavery.
I'm not going to disagree with you there. Slavery certainly has been around a long time, but in my point of view, if you're to be respectful, a respectable God, you put an end to that crap, and you do it quick.
Yeah,
it's you're willing to let people know you exist. You let them know that is not okay with me. That's not what we get out of the Christian God. He's like, no, do it.
And the Bible speaks upon slavery, and it does speak upon slavery and indentured servitude. And I can't quote you exactly where it's at, but it does speak about that. I believe there's something about it's something about beating a slave to a point.
You're not supposed to. But if they live for 3 days, then there's no punishment for you. Because that person was your property.
It's you sound like you're somewhere in the realm. I just can't quote it. I can't quote it off the top of my head. If you want to talk about like a modern day slavery, what I was gonna say, something to Jay here, is about slavery. The crazy thing is, people think that like slavery is gone in the United States and everything like that. But if you become part of the prison system, if you go to jail, you are essentially a slave of the state. And so there is a huge slavery population.
Yeah. I've definitely got a problem with the labor system as it's called in prison,
and the prison system. So there is actually it's a very like kind of hush behind the curtains version of slavery. It's not like, yes, I'm master, let me go pick the cotton, master. It's not like that kind of slavery anymore. It's very organized, and it's a very it's a tough thing, whenever it comes to like slavery like that. There's a lot of people don't understand that it literally says that you become a slave to the state, I believe, whenever you get incarcerated.
I would think there's a constitutional right the person doesn't have to give up when they go to prison. So they should be, if they're forced to work, they should be paid at least the minimum wage in that state and not anything less.
Yeah,
but try to say, well, we're giving that person room and board. You know what? Ask them would they rather be somewhere else, and I'm sure you can get most of them to volunteer to leave.
Yeah, I mean, it's something. Yeah, and even it's something even that approached minimum wage with some sort of, deduction so that you're not.
I don't think that's fair because they didn't ask to be there.
But they are
They're supposed to pay their
incarcerated
debts in
though.
society.
But if
it's
you
a private
commit a
company,
crime,
Oh no, I see what
money.
you're saying. I see what you're saying. So you're incarcerated. Your room and board is that you get to you don't get to go home at the end of the day. You go back to being incarcerated at the end of the day. So if you're going to be working, stamping out license plates, then you should just be paid the minimum wage for stamping out license plates.
That's it.
Okay. I'm not
At
gonna.
least.
I'd vote for
At
that.
least.
I'd vote for that.
well, I mean, what about like the people that aren't incarcerated that didn't commit crimes that do license plate? I mean, I don't think that might be fair.
Well, I'm just saying they get the same. They still get paid the same thing to do the work, and then they get to go home.
I mean, at the end of the day, though, if you are incarcerated, it's usually for a reason. Now, I will say this, like.
So, what do you think that means? Though you should be entitled to less than the minimum wage or something?
I mean, if let's say you beat someone to death, or you murdered someone, or you broke into somebody's home, you kind of given up your right to a minimum wage.
I think, to be honest, in those situations, though, you're probably not eligible for work. Yeah, you're probably not eligible for work.
You get privileged. You're privileged. Honestly, you're privileged to work if you can't.
Yeah,
work.
but I don't even think you. Yeah, but I'm saying a lot of that's where it gets tough, right? But that's what people have to deal with. People then have to create the market to work. Because here's what we might say: we don't want prison labor. And we might say prison labor is secondary labor, meaning no free person should be without employment, and then that job be given to somebody who's violated the law. Now, I'm not necessarily saying that, but I would love to see the market settle that out, because you're right. You don't, and this is what I was going to say. The same way there are people who get arrested, they commit minor crimes when? About late every fall, every year. Why? Because they want somewhere warm and 3 square meals a day for the winter. And so they're gonna do some crime they don't even care about doing. They're gonna break a window, steal something real quick, give it back. They don't care. They just need to. They literally are people who would be homeless, but would prefer to just get locked up because it's better than being homeless.
Get 2 hots in a cot.
There it is. Now, let's flip that and say you don't want people to do that as a way to gain employment. I can't find work, so I break the law so I could get locked up, so I can stamp out license plates, so I can feed my family. Right? That's a problem. Right?
I think if you think like that, then you probably have some type of mental issue, because I don't think
no. That's what we're saying. It wouldn't take that. It would not take that. I'm saying people do that, but I don't think that the people that would do that are probably the most stable-minded people. No, clearly something's gone wrong in your life if you're that desperate, right? You've fallen on hard times, whether it's you, social circumstances, drugs, whatever. Mm-hmm. But my point is simply, and I'm kind of we're all thinking through this together, right? My point was to follow up with you said was you wouldn't want to create a situation where that prison job, right? Because you said there's a lot of people who haven't broke the law and they can't find work. Right. And so what I'm saying is you don't want to create a situation where people who are unemployed but law-abiding citizens can't find work and therefore commit some sort of crime because, well, my one black friend's policy of minimum wage for all prison works went through. And so now it's 2 hots, a cot, in a minimum wage job that you're guaranteed if you get arrested. So to balance that, we've got to make sure it's still a really bad idea to get arrested, right? Yeah. And maybe that is some sort of work restriction. But I think my one black friend is saying, first off, they don't have to let you work. So if they just want you to be incarcerated and do your time and move on, then they just should not be forcing you to work. They should just say, hey, you're locked up for 6 months and, if your family wants to put money on your commissary, that's fine, but you don't work. That's how a lot of people are. Like, I've been locked up several times. I've never had a job because, I'd never done that kind of time, but you just don't. You don't work. You're locked up.
If you sleep half of the day, then you sleep through half of your time.
Yeah.
So,
right.
So the thing about working and being privileged is, like, you were saying that the average citizen can't find a job, correct? Like, right? In that
I'm just saying
community.
if that's the concern.
A lot
If
of
that's
So
the
so
concern.
here's a beautiful thing. Look, like I'm currently unemployed. I'm ill. I have a disease. I can't get medical assistance for it because, like I said, it's no glamorous disease. It's not it's not popular.
Not on the cool list.
It's not cool like cancer or anything like that. So it's hard to get assistance for that. And there's other reasons too. But if I wanted to go and work, I could literally go outside and maybe knock on my neighbor's door and say, "Hey, I noticed that your gutters are full of leaves. You know what? For this amount of money, let me go ahead and take care of your gutters for you and do this. Let me go and let me mow your grass. Let me do something for you, and you can make your own work. You don't necessarily have to work for somebody."
Yeah, and you kind of do lose that when you're locked up. This was actually a great conversation. I'm sitting here thinking, is this what the world looks like if my one black friend and Lupin are both elected officials and have to come to the negotiating table to work things out? So
I couldn't be an elected official, man. I'm too real.
Well, some people would say that about some other people in the room with you. But I certainly appreciate you guys. I got to get out of here to make sure I get to my meeting on time.
Okay.
So
how do I get in touch with Carrie Ann? How do I get in touch with her?
Gather. She'll be in the Gather with us. She's always hanging out in Gather. Also, she has email. So she's not in the room right now, but when we go back to the ranch, she'll be over there. But also email. No, and real seriously, email, because I know you're not in the Gather a lot with us during the week, during the day, and I know you're not in Discord. But Carrie Ann, she tried to tell you yesterday, her email is her name, Carrie Ann Chrysler, I think at Gmail. So I'll probably, if it's okay with you, if you give me permission, I'll send her your email address so she can reach out to you.
Okay, that's fine.
Yeah. So I'll have her reach out to you. Also, my one black friend, we are going to be in the Bundy Ranch one later, watching the football game with Jen and Truth. We're there around the week, hanging out normally, even when we're not online. But yeah, for everybody else, appreciate your time. Thank you all for joining in. I am not going to probably be streaming the rest of the day. Me and Sacred Death, my club, we have some stuff to take care of behind the scenes, so I'm not going to stream our church today. And I'm probably going to reschedule the Atheist Crew book club. I think I want to move it away from Sunday nights, just so that my Sunday evenings can be spent and Gather. I'm trying to spend more and more time in Gather and less on YouTube. So I will be ending the stream, but I will be in Gather the remainder of the day. So and I'm really looking forward to 8:00 p.m. Eastern. Uncle Bobby will be coming through to check out at least the first part of the Cowboys and Eagles game with us. We watched super fun movie last night. We've been watching crazy shows. We've been watching Cheers. We've been having a really good time. We don't have to worry about copyright and things like that. So if you have an invitation, please join us and Gather. I'll be there. I'm just gonna take Sam out real quick, and then I'll be right back at the Speakeasy. Yeah, we'll be watching the game with Uncle Bobby. I'll probably just be hanging out and Gather, playing some videos, doing some work or something, while Sacred Death has church. And then we'll get to the game and we'll hang out tonight. So yeah, everybody join us and Gather if you can. If not, join us in Discord. The link is in Discord. If we know you, once you get hooked up as a member in Discord, we'll give you the invites and stuff to Gather. Otherwise, been really, really fun. I want to thank Uncle Bobby for joining me on the Blackout. That was super fun. And of course, I want to thank my one black friend for joining me on Hot Program. Thanks to Lupin for calling in. Do you have anything else for us, my one black friend? You got anything going on?
I don't. I'm writing to Carrie Ann right now. I gotta get stuff out of my rental car, and then I'm gonna call my fiance because she and I just talked for a little this morning. So
Awesome. So,
yeah, and then I got to work.
All right, gang. As always, be good to yourselves.
And each other. And thanks, everybody.
All right. In the name of the Darwin, the Dawkins, and the Christopher Hitchens, signs bless you all.